I actually think that's the greatest faith-based religion in the world, is to be an atheist.
Well, it looks like we're tackling this today. Daniel Fusco is a pastor who apparently thinks that not having a belief in something requires blind faith, and his reasoning for this is his complete lack of understanding and how scientists believe it actually happened. But to his credit, at least he paid attention long enough in school to get this one little part right.
And all of the matter in the universe was contained in something smaller than the eye of the pin of a needle.
Unfortunately, this is where his understanding of the subject completely stops, and he starts to show that he has no clue what he's talking about.
And all of a sudden it exploded, and then everything kind of landed in the perfect spot. I remember hearing that and thinking to myself, uh-oh, I got a problem.
Yeah, he definitely does have a problem. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on claiming that it was an explosion, since that's probably one of the more common misunderstandings about the Big Bang. It's more of an expansion than an explosion, much like a balloon being inflated is expanding and not exploding. What starts to show his ignorance of the subject is the claim that everything kind of landed in the perfect spot. Nothing landed anywhere. Unfortunately, the ignorance he has of the Big Bang Theory is the basis for his main argument.
Because really what I started to realize is that I actually didn't have enough faith to be an atheist. I could not believe that there was a Big Bang, it exploded outward, and everything landed perfectly where there's suns and planets and orbits and gravity and all this stuff just worked.
What Pastor Fusco fails to understand is that we don't need to have faith that the Big Bang happened. We can say with confidence, using evidence that has been gathered, much like a detective at a crime scene, that this is likely what happened. We don't need faith because we have tangible evidence in front of us. His lack of understanding becomes clear since he thinks that the stars, the planets, and the entire universe just magically appeared out of an explosion. In the early universe, there were basically just protons, neutrons, and electrons that came together to form the first atoms. You couldn't even see light until about 380,000 years after expansion started. Now, those atoms eventually combined to become the first elements as gas clouds that gravity condensed to make stars that forged more complex elements in their cores, eventually dying in supernovas, expelling all the matter that coalesced into what we can see today.
And I once heard an analogy that really made sense, that if you believe in the Big Bang without a creator God, it's like believing you could throw a 100-piece puzzle down on the ground and it would land all perfectly formed.
The problem with this tornado analogy is that it assumes randomness, which the universe is anything but. It may be chaotic, but there are unchanging laws that dictate how everything works, such as gravity, Newton's laws of motion, entropy, and so on and so on and so on. A more accurate analogy would be it's like putting together a puzzle with somebody pointing out to you which piece goes where. And I realized, actually, I don't have enough faith to do that. See, I believe in the Big Bang. I also believe that the Big Bang happened because of the Big Banger. I believe that God spoke and all of creation came into existence, but there was intelligence behind it. Now, obviously, I could talk about a lot of different things, but I'm going to leave it there. Pastor Fusco spends most of the video laying out a very poor understanding of a subject he could very easily have researched, but doesn't care to give any reason to believe his claim other than a play on words that is probably more fitting for an 80s porno.
Actually, I think that the most profound faith-based position would have to be an atheist, because you have to explain that everything worked by happenstance.
Believing that the Big Bang is how the universe as we know it came about has no bearing on whether someone is an atheist. There are other theories, though not as robust, about the origins of our universe, like the eternal inflation theory or the oscillating model. Alternatively, there are many people that believe the Big Bang happened, as science has shown us, and that a God exists. Places like the Vatican even have people researching the early universe and making contributions to this day in the field of cosmology. So what's the big takeaway that we can get from all this? It's that if you don't understand a subject, you can't allow yourself to dismiss it as some crazy notion. Do the proper research and be intellectually honest enough to say, I don't know, when necessary. Don't be like Pastor Fusco, who uses his ignorance of our universe in order to allow his claims to hold more weight than they actually have. Now, this is one of my early attempts at one of these, so be sure to head to the comment section and let me know how I did. And if you enjoyed it, you can always hit that like button. And until next time, I'm Gary the Atheist.